Security checkpoints override Southeast roads. Road users in the Southeast region, particularly passengers, have cried out over the ugly scenes they experience on some roads in the zone, especially at checkpoints manned by soldiers. They are lamenting the level of humiliation, intimidation, and harassment they are subjected to on some roads in the region, Southeast. The Southeast zone can rightly be said to be under siege by soldiers and police that have mounted checkpoints almost at every 2 kilometers in all the major roads in the zone. From Aba to Umuahia to Owerri, Enugu to Abakaliki, Awka to Onitsha to Nnewi, the story is the same. From Aba to Enugu, a distance of 150 kilometers, there are at least 12 army checkpoints and over 16 police checkpoints permanently mounted and a couple of stop and search police teams. The situation has been a source of worry to motorists and other road users in the zone, some of whom have decided it is an embarrassment and an assault of the people of the zone. Most embarrassing, according to them, is the situation where they are made to disembark from their vehicles at checkpoints mounted by soldiers and forced to walk across to wait for their vehicle. They are not even searched for any incriminating materials on them. Painfully, this is done under the rain or sunshine and not minding the condition of the occupants of the vehicles, whether they are old or ill. No exemption. Even infants and pregnant women are also subjected to the humiliating tax. This is notorious on the routes between Okigwe and Enugu, on the Enugu-Port Harcourt Expressway at Ihiala or Onitsha-Owerri Road. Considering the illegal activity, the Methodist Archbishop of Umuahia, Most Reverend Dr. Chibuzo Raphael Okpoko, likened the humiliating treatment being meted out to commuters in Southeast at military checkpoints to a war zone situation. He condemned the practice and called on the Presidency, the National Assembly, and the military high commands to rise to the occasion. According to him, I watch with trepidation the manner the Southeasterners and all those traveling across the roads are humiliated, degraded, and punished against their will at different checkpoints, regardless of age, health, sex, and status of the passengers, especially in commercial vehicles. Everyone is demanded to disembark and walk across the military checkpoints despite the weather conditions, storm, rain, or sunshine. These sad incidents are rife in about 4 checkpoints along the Aba-Enugu Expressway, about 3 spots between Oba Junction to Owerri, and at the boundary between Akwa Ibom and Abia States on the Umuahia Ikote-Bene Road. The aged, pregnant, and little children, among others, have been subjected to this inhuman treatment. This is condemnable. It is an atrocity to mankind and smacks of deprivation and subjugation of the fundamental rights of free movement and dignity of the human person. The continued recurrence of these acts raises questions. Are we in the same nation whose constitution guarantees the right of free movement and dignity? Are we in a war zone situation? What has occasioned these inhuman treatments? We call on the leadership of the country to halt these degrading incidents. It gives a bad image to our nation and eats up the goodwill of hardworking Nigerians who ply these roads while damaging the psyche of the peace-loving people of the Southeast. We also call the attention of Chief of Army Staff and members of the National Assembly to ensure the stoppage of this human degradation and abuse of the fundamental human rights of the citizens of Nigeria residing in southeastern part of the country, the cleric fumed. One of the most dreaded military checkpoints in the zone is the one at Ihiala along the Onitsha-Owerri Road in particular. The one located almost opposite Abbott Boys Secondary School, Ihiala, is a nightmare to those who use the road on daily basis. Sometimes the traffic gridlock caused by the soldiers there could stretch up to 1 kilometer on both sides. A commercial driver and regular user of the road, Mr. Okudele Okeke Amadi, said the soldiers there have a makeshift house where drivers and their conductors usually go to drop money, while their passengers are forced to disembark and walk to the other end with their hands raised. If the soldiers find out that any of the passengers grumbled, the vehicle conveying them would be delayed. During the delay, the soldiers would be insulting and abusing them, and nobody dared to frown. Otherwise, the person would be asked to remain behind while others continue their journey. Another notorious military checkpoint is the one at Ugwoba along Enugu-Onitsha Expressway. Recently, one of the soldiers was boasting that he could kill anybody there and nothing would happen. What angered him was that a vehicle on one lane tried to pass, with the driver not knowing that he had to be told to do so even when there were no vehicles on the other end of the road. He asked all the drivers on queue to park and hand over their keys to him. With a gun on his hand, he narrated how he killed hundreds of people in the course of his work in various parts of the country. Even when one woman begged him that they were rushing home because she just lost her husband, the soldier told her that was not his business. For over 30 minutes, the motorists were delayed until they contributed 2,000 naira each before they got their car keys back and permitted to go. A community leader in Ihiala, Chief Francis Obidile, suggested that members of the National Assembly from the zone should take up the matter on the floor of the Senate and House of Representatives immediately to prevail on the federal government to direct the military authorities to dismantle the humiliating checkpoints. A leading rights group, Inter-Society, lamented that the most torturous and shocking of it all is being forced to get down from their vehicles, even if it is raining or under scorching sun. This is a gross human right abuse by the military personnel, and they do it with impunity without minding whether the victims are old or ill. Annoyingly, the soldiers are not interested in carrying out routine security checks but to punish and humiliate the victims. Some passengers using such routes late at night are also at high risk of abduction and permanent disappearance, particularly those found wearing or holding any shirt or insignia with combined colors bearing black and red or with rising sun symbols. Comrade Emeka Umeagbalase, chairman of Inter-Society, said.